All right, good afternoon, traders. Today is April 28th, 2025. My name is John Kerrigan. I moderate the BYOB Trading Room, and I am the lead instructor here at BYOB Trading. Thank you for being here. Thank you, everybody out there in Cyberland, Podcast Land. Thank you, everybody here in the room. All right, I appreciate your subscriptions. I don't take that for granted. Try to provide valuable content every single day. Actionable trades every single day. All right, let's go take a look how I made 2K today. All right, let's take a peek at it. And let's minimize this. All right, so what did we have? We had right here a 10-minute downtrend under VWAP. Right here. I traded some 530 puts. And I traded some 0 DTE 530 puts and some 4 DTE 530 puts. Along with, that seems to be about it right there. So you can see I made some, and then we had some calls. And I bought some calls and made some money on some calls. So here's 530 puts. Made some money on the 530 puts. Then I made some money on the calls, which were right here. Copy those. Okay, so I made about 840 on the calls right here. 553 calls into the close. And what did we do to find those? Okay, we had price action, 10-minute uptrend, breaking the rubber band candle right here. Slamming into the close right there. 10-minute uptrend, breaking the rubber band candle. Over VWAP, slamming into the close. Bought some of those, traded those into this wick right up here. All right, so 10-minute downtrend under VWAP. That's our flagship strategy. All right there. You could have taken it on the SPY. You could have taken it on the Qs. You had red erases green. If you didn't see it, you would have been notified in the room. Red erases green right here. Okay, I pointed it out. I put it in the alerts, stuck it in the chat. Red erases green entry, 10-minute downtrend. There was your entry right there on that candle. Okay, so if you're not making profits in this room, please get with me. All right, because there's no reason for you to not make profits. All right? No reason for you to not make profits. Okay? So there it is. Red erases green right there. 10-minute downtrend under VWAP. Traded that. Then we had a 10-minute uptrend over VWAP right here. Breaking the rubber band candle. Eric got some right here. 10-minute uptrend over VWAP right there. All right. That's how I made some money today. All right, let's take a look at QQQ. QQQ had the same day. Stu got some. Love it, Stu. Love it, love it, love it. QQQ. All right, let's look at the QQQ chart. Okay, here it is. 10-minute downtrend under VWAP, double bottom, and a rip right back up through VWAP, breaking the rubber band candle, and you got some of that 10-minute uptrend over VWAP right there. If you want to take a look at the game plan, all right, here's the game plan. Okay, red erases green right here. Okay, there's a 10-minute downtrend under VWAP. Jump in on it until it closes out right there. Okay, QQQ, 10-minute downtrend under VWAP. Okay, if you didn't take SPY, you could have taken QQQ. All right, then you got a 10-minute uptrend over VWAP right here, coming back up through the red. Okay, breaking the rubber band candle. That's it right there. All right, and you get 1, 2, 3, 4 candles up into that wick. All right, so price action really looking good here on QQQ. 10-minute uptrend over VWAP, 10-minute downtrend. They gave us both sides. It was a treat today. It was like Halloween with no tricks. All right, there's QQQ. Let's take a look at SPY game plan. Oh, this looks really busy, but let me just say, because we were looking at targets all through here, so let me just delete this, delete that. delete this, delete that, delete this, delete that. Okay, let me take this out. All right. Red erases green. So where's the green here? Let's just map it out so you can see how red erases green works. Okay, we went from this low on Friday up to that high. Okay, so you take it from that low up to that high. Okay, now you got red erases green. Watch this. It's going to blow your mind. All right, so from that high down to that low, where's the entry? Right where the red crosses the green. Right there. Bingo.
Order
right
filled.
There. And you could have taken it a little bit earlier after you broke the rubber band candle right here underneath VWAP. So either one, you could have taken that candle or this candle. Either one, nice ride down in. Okay, so nice price action there. 10-minute uptrend over VWAP. Green erases red. All right, so where did we have green erases red? Actually, it was just a 10-minute uptrend over VWAP right there. Mel, what's my prediction for tomorrow? Well, let me just say that the bulls recovered. I don't see a higher high, though. Okay? It's imperative that we make some higher highs. Let's dig into the rest of the market because there are some surprises in there that are unexpected. All right? And we'll look at everything. Okay? So let me get a clean chart. Okay, let's take a look at the 10-minute. All right, on the 10-minute, we got a 10-minute uptrend coming into the close. Okay, nice 10-minute uptrend coming into the close. Let me flatten this real quick. I'll just let it ride right there. 10-minute uptrend coming into the close. 2 hour. 2 hour, we got a 2 hour uptrend coming into the close. See the yellow 3 EMA right there? Okay, that's the yellow line up over the white line, the 8. Okay, so there's air in between the 3 and the 8. That's a 2 hour uptrend coming into the close. On the daily chart, traders in the room, did I not map out this candle exactly? Anybody in the room that was here with me, did I not describe this candle exactly for today? Right. I mean, I said, this is what I'm expecting. Yep. And what does it look like? The exact candle that I said I'm expecting. All right. So there you go. All right. So daily chart, higher low, higher high, closing over the bullish trap, over the flat 17, all right? And let's look at it in an uptrend, still in an uptrend, okay? If they take out this low, they'll negate the uptrend. Okay, right now they're in an uptrend. On the scratch, we're up over, oh, look at this, we're over the downtrend line. We're over the all-time high anchored VWAP. We're over the midpoint right there. We're over the uptrend line and the downtrend line. Okay, so price action is neutral through here. Still in an uptrend. There's SPY. Let's take a look at QQQ. QQQ got the same candle. Okay, higher low, higher high, closing over bullish trap, over the 17, over the all-time high anchored VWAP. See that? That's the pink line, starts up there. Over the uptrend, the downtrend line, see the goal line? I'm going to get rid of it. We're up over it. All right. Up here at the midpoint, over the midpoint. Okay, that's bullish. Well, it's neutral, but it's on the bullish side of neutral. All right, it's still neutral. All right, it hasn't done anything spectacular yet. They just made a nice comeback. All right, but anyways, you go down and you give it up, that's neutral. Same with SPY, okay? You go down, okay, and you give it up, that's neutral. And it's the same way on the other side. If you go up and you give it up. You're just neutral, okay? You want to impress us, okay? You got to move up and hold the higher ground, okay? That's bullish. This is just neutral. You go up, give it up. That's just neutral. You go down and you hold the lower ground. That's bearish, okay? You go up, you give it up, and more. That's bearish, okay? Right there. All right, so now we got that out of the way. Okay, so there's SPY. Let's take a look at, we just did QQQ. Let's do FNGU, FNGA. They changed their moniker. All right, so FNGA got a, I have to look. My eyes aren't that good. 398.84. 444. So we got an outside day, okay? That means we made a higher high and a lower low. But we closed, look at this, over a bullish trap. See the 3? This is what I'm talking about. You can't see it on the SPY, but see that 3 EMA? That's the yellow one. It's up over the white 8 EMA, and the whole thing, the whole trap is up over, see the dots? That's the 17. All right, so closing over a bullish trap, over the flat 17 right there, no longer in the lower third, okay? Because if they were in the lower third, that would be bearish, okay? So that's neutral, all right? If we back out, you can see not in the lower third, so that's neutral. They went down, they gave it up, okay? So that's neutral. Not in the lower third, so they're just neutral. Still under the all-time high anchored VWAP, still under the midpoint, but over the 17 and over the bullish trap. Okay, we'll see if we get some continuation on that. That's FNGA. All right, let's take a look at Diamond Dow. All right, Diamond Dow, let me see. They got a high. See if they took out that high. 403.75. 404.17. I guess we could call that an uptrend if that's a pullback. They did get down to that low. All right, so Diamond Dow now in an uptrend right there. It's kind of chintzy if you ask me. You know, really should have taken out this high, but technically they made a higher high than this pullback right here. It's hard to qualify that, but it does qualify. Higher low, higher high, closing over a bullish trap, over the flat 17, under the downtrend line and under the all-time high anchored VWAP. No longer in the lower third, so that's neutral as well. You go down, you give it up, all right? That's neutral. IWM, higher low, higher high, closing over the bullish trap, over the flat 17. This is the all-time high anchored VWAP, this top pink line. Okay, so that's neutral. Actually, that's bearish. Under the all-time high anchored VWAP in the lower third, so that's still bearish. All right? Making higher lows, they got to make a higher high. They got to take out that high to be bullish. All right, so there's IWM. Take a look at our technicals. Mel, pay attention. All right, T2122. We spent the day in the buy zone and wandering and meandering inside of the overbought zone up here. Okay, T2122. Okay, making a little higher low here. Here's Friday's low. We made a little higher low, looking to make that higher high, T2122. So T2123 should be mostly all green. So we're hanging out in the buy zone and the overbought zone today. T2123. Okay, bullish gap, didn't get filled, love that. Okay, did some work here, took a 5 martini lunch, came back, bought some more. All right, so green from the first half of the day, took a lunch, and then green from the rest of the day. Up over this hooking 200 SMA. Okay, we're up and walking around. Before we looked catatonic right here, looked like we were in bed. And then somebody raised up the headrest, and then it looks like now we're up and walking around now. Still got to take out this high. Okay, still a ways away. All right, still looking like, to me, a mini bull flag inside of a big bear flag. Okay, let me spell it out so you guys can see it. Okay, bear flag down, over to the right. Big hockey stick. The fabric of the flag is longer than the flagpole. Okay, there's the bear flag. And then we got, if you look real closely, you get a little mini bull flag up here, and then we're going up like that. So it's a little mini bull flag inside of a bear flag. Got to see some higher highs, all right? We are doing it on the smaller time frame, all right? On the smaller time frame, it's happening. If I zoom in here, okay, you can see we're getting some higher highs here, all right? But nothing really groundbreaking, okay? I want some groundbreaking higher highs, okay? I'm not getting any groundbreaking higher highs. This is good work right
Order
here.
filled.
If they can keep this up. All right, looking good right there. That's T2123, 15-minute chart. T2123, 3-bar chart. Okay, again today, 3 more green candle bars. Notice the color change. Okay, goes from red to green and then to red. For
Order
a long
filled.
time, it stayed in the red. And now we're back to green. See that? We've got to start making some higher highs, okay, on the bigger time frames. Okay, got to see some higher highs. Yeah, you can do that on the 15-minute all day long, but I want to see it done on the 3-bar chart, on the daily chart. So that's T2123, 3-bar chart, waking up, coming alive, still underneath this rolling 200 SMA there. Let's take a look at FNGA. Price action for today. Okay, selling. Looks like we had one 15-minute candle of buying, and then the rest of the day was selling. And then somebody sent them the memo that we're going in the other direction, and then they started buying it all back up. Okay, that's what it looks like to me. All right, somebody said, hey, did you get the memo this morning? And then they said, oh, we're not selling today. And then they decided to buy it all back. Everything they were selling off, they bought it all right back up. Okay, so there's FNGA. All right, they didn't even go to lunch. All right, there's FNGA. Up over the 200 SMA, underneath the all-time high anchored VWAP. We're getting closer. We're making higher highs. So you got a higher low and a higher high. Okay, that's looking good. Okay, like to take out this high right here. This is next, right there. And that puts us up over that all-time high anchored VWAP. Take a look at a few sectors. Start off with the XLE. Hope I got it right. Okay, XLE, let's take a look at it on the daily. All right, on the daily, higher low, higher high, closing over a trap, over the 17. All right, on the scratch. Okay, we're no longer in the lower third. It's questionable. I'm just going to say that's questionable. For me, I'll be a nice guy and give it to him today. All right, so no longer in the lower third, so that's neutral. Okay, you go down, you give it up, that's neutral. Still under downtrend line 1, downtrend line 2, all-time high, 12-month high anchored VWAP right there, XLE. Still underneath the midpoint, just barely squeaking out of the lower third, all right? It's like they just opened the door and walked through like 10 seconds ago. All right, so there's XLE. Let's take a look at USO. Okay, USO in a downtrend still. All right, lower high, lower low, closing under a trap, under the falling 17. Under this is a 3-year high anchored VWAP. That's our post-COVID high. Okay, closing underneath the midpoint, down here in the lower third. See that? All right, so even though XLE didn't get bearish, this is bearish down here in the lower third. Okay, not getting it done. Still in a downtrend. That's USO. Let's take a look at UNG. This is natural gas. Higher low, higher high. Nice to see that. All right. Closing over a bearish trap under the falling 17. Okay. Price action. Let's put the quad lines on there. I think I erased them earlier. All right. Not in the lower third, so that's neutral. All right. But still in a downtrend. See the low? They made a lower low, so it's still in a downtrend. So there's UNG. All-time high anchored VWAP, well, let's just call it the 12-month high anchored VWAP, and we'll put it right here. Okay, still under that 12-month high anchored VWAP. All right, let's take a look at silver and gold, precious metals. Higher low, higher high. Closing over the trap, over a bullish trap, over the rising 17. Closing over all-time high anchored VWAP. That's that pink line. Closing up in quadrant 4. That's bullish. Closing over the uptrend line. Closing over this rising 17. Everything looking good. Gold is bullish and in an uptrend. Silver. Silver is in a downtrend, but not moving down. All right, silver today put in a higher low and a higher high, closing inside a bullish trap over the 17. This is a 12-year high and a 6-month high anchored VWAP right there. Closing above that, closing up in quadrant 4, that's bullish, but still in a downtrend. And in order to negate the downtrend, they got to take out this high. Okay, but they can do something else. They can create a higher low and rip back up through, take out the lower high, and that will put them into an uptrend. Remember, it's just a label, all right? Think about it. They're in a downtrend, but they're not moving down. That doesn't mean they have to move down. Okay, they're just labeled a downtrend because they haven't broken this high right here. So in a downtrend, but not moving down. They're moving up. So silver is bullish up here in quadrant 4. All right, let's take a look at a few sectors. SMH was looking good this morning. All right, let's take a look at it now. And we got a lower high, lower low, closing over a bullish trap, over the flat 17. No longer in the lower third, okay, so that's neutral. Under the all-time high anchored VWAP, under the downtrend line. So just neutral, but I think they got themselves an uptrend. High, 212.81. High, 213. So they're in an uptrend, okay, because they made a higher high. See that high that pokes through the 17? They made a higher high. That puts them in an uptrend. If they take out this low, that will negate the uptrend, put them back into a downtrend. That's SMH. Let's take a look at XLK, big brother to the SMH. Okay, higher low, higher high, closing over a bullish trap, over the midpoint, over the all-time high anchored VWAP, over the flat 17. That's the red dots turning into green dots right here. It's a 17 EMA. Okay, price action underneath the downtrend line. You go down, you give it up, that's neutral. They're in an uptrend. See that high? They made a higher high, so that puts them in an uptrend. Okay, so XLK in an uptrend, SMH in an uptrend. Let's take a look at XLF. All right, XLF, higher low, higher high, closing over the bullish trap. See the 3 on top of the 8. Closing over the 17, that's the dots. Closing over the all-time high anchored VWAP, that would be the pink line. All right, gearing up for a breakout. All right, that's 4 days up there. Watch this thing for a breakout. XLF up over the all-time high anchored VWAP there, up over the midpoint. Okay, just neutral because they're not in the upper third, but looking like they're primed and poised to have a breakout to the upside. Nice consolidation over the all-time high anchored VWAP. Watch that one. All right, let's take a look at IYT. All right, IYT not helping us. Okay, not hurting us, but not helping us. Higher low. I'm going to give it to them. Higher high, not by much. Anyways, not by much. Closing inside the bullish trap under the flat 17 EMA right there. See, that's the red dots. Okay, in the lower third, so it's still bearish. Okay, they have to take out, see this high that pops the 17 over here? Okay, they have to take out that high over there. Or this high right here. Okay, to negate the downtrend. Okay, so still in a downtrend, still bearish in the lower third. All right, still underneath this all-time high anchored VWAP. All right, still underneath the midpoint. All right, not helping us at all. All right, not hurting us, but not helping us. So there's the transports. All right, so what do I think about tomorrow? Well, I think we need to hold the higher ground. All right, this is an area. I think if you go up too fast, what happens is you peak out and fall down. I like it better when they move to the right and create a base foundation to lift off, to have a rocket lift off. All right, right now, we don't have that flat consolidation. I would like to see consolidation. Okay, the idea that we moved down and came all the way back up today, that's
Order
exciting.
filled.
I think I see more consolidation tomorrow. I don't know if it's going to be this wide range that we had today, but I think I see more consolidation. I see a wick, I see a wick, a wick, and a wick. All right, so obviously we got some sellers up there. Okay, so we got a lot of wicks going on. All right, so I see more consolidation as we grind away at overhead supply right between 550 and 553. That's what I see for tomorrow. Okay, bottom line, we failed to make a higher high. Okay, but I don't think we're done yet. We're not leaving the area. All right, as long as we continue to stay in the area, all right, we're bullish. In other words, we stay up here and hold the higher ground. Now it looks on the 30-minute chart like we're holding the higher ground. But if you look at it from the daily chart, it looks kind of weak. Just the way I see it, still looks kind of weak right here. All right, it's just one candle or two candles, all right? So I'm not going to get overjoyed with excitement. I'm not seeing it yet. There's a nice comeback today on that 30-minute chart. All right, but I'd like to show me some consolidation that they can hold the higher ground. I like the fact that they're moving up. That's good. The problem is you use up all your energy to move up, and then what happens is you've got nothing to defend yourself when you're coming down. And I'd like to see them move to the right, rest, pick up some spinach, all right, and then do a pop, all right? That's what I'd like to see. I don't know if I'll get what I want, but that's what I'd like to see. So it's just one day. Nice comeback today. So we'll see what happens tomorrow, all right? I think I'm going to get more of the same tomorrow. That's what I think. More of the same. Consolidation over to the right, right? We're right underneath all of this consolidation right through here. Okay, so this is a brick of consolidation. Okay, I'm just drawing it all the way over. Okay, but you can see all of this, and that looks like about maybe 3 weeks or 2.5 weeks. I could probably pull this back even further of consolidation that we got to grind through. It's going to take a little while. Not to mention, we don't have transports in an uptrend. Okay. We got financials in an uptrend, but they're still neutral. Okay, you got technology and semiconductors in uptrends, but they're still neutral. All right, so it's looking good, but it's coming along. All right, that's all I'm going to say. It's looking good, but it's coming along. All right. All right, that's it for me for today, traders. Hope you all made some money. All right, I tried to get you in where I should, where 10-minute downtrend, green erases red, red erases green, and then breaking the rubber band candle. Hope you made some money. If you didn't, please get with me. I want to help you. All right. Other than that, I'll see you guys all tomorrow. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. All right. We'll do it again tomorrow.